Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out, episode 386 on this first show of spring. We have a great Tech It Out plan for you this hour with 4 different topics. Because we have a packed show for you, I'll dispense with any small talk off the top of the program and just tell you what's on tap for today. We're going to kick things off with a device that you can plug into your car that can diagnose issues that you may have with it before it becomes a costly problem. It's called SPARQ Diagnostics, and while it's normally $500, the company is giving it away for free. You'll hear what it can do and why they're giving it away at no cost, besides shipping, I think, but that's it. After that, I'll share some spring-related tech that I've been showing on TV this week, some really cool gadgets you may want to know about, including a new robotic lawnmower. Also on the show today, we know police officers often wear body cams, but what about regular folks like you and me? Well, we're going to learn about the Keocam wearable camera for personal safety. I have a daughter away at college, and so I really like the idea of this. And finally, a 3D tablet. No glasses are needed to see this crazy effect that makes content look like it's coming out of the screen and onto your lap. I recorded this interview at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. All of this and more on a brand new Tech It Out powered by Visa. Securing the world's payments is priority one. I'll tell you more about Visa's anti-fraud efforts shortly, but let's officially kick off the new show with our first interview. Vehicle owners, listen up. Wouldn't it be great to easily diagnose your car or truck's health before any costly repairs were needed? Well, this is precisely what SPARQ Diagnostics aims to help with. It's an AI-powered car health monitor that may prevent expensive service work. Joining me on the line to explain how it works and why they're giving it away for free is Daniel Nia. He's co-founder of SPARQ. Great to have you on the show, Daniel. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me here.
Now, before we talk about the solution, tell us what the problem is when it comes to car maintenance or car issues.
You know, Mark, a lot of times what we realize, especially with vehicle ownership, is that car owners nowadays, they just don't have enough information or even access to the tools to gather them enough information to know about what's wrong with their vehicles. So the problem resides where a lot of the car owners almost have no options but to rely on a third party, for example, a mechanic's opinion on what they should do with their vehicle without much of an external due diligence or a point where they will be able to completely trust in.
And it's not just the who, like where you need to take it to an expert to diagnose it, but it's also the when is the issue. Often after the problem has started, it could be too late, right? At that point.
Exactly. It could be either too late by the time that you realize the problem, by the time a car owner realizes the problem, or they could just not know where to even begin with to diagnose the problem, or who should they go to for the ultimate truth.
So with that in mind, what does SPARQ Diagnostics do?
So SPARQ Diagnostics is a device that can turn your car into an AI. It allows your car to directly communicate with you about what it needs based on how you drive, as well as the vehicle that you drive. At any given moment, car owners will be able to perform more than 50,000 independent inspections on their vehicle without ever needing to go to a dealership or mechanic shops again.
And this device, it plugs into your car's OBD port. Is that what it's called? The onboard diagnostics port, which most vehicles have, right? Is it usually just to the bottom left of the steering column? Is that fair?
That is correct. Most of the OBD port, if not majority of the OBD port with existing vehicles, are located at the lower left of the steering wheel. Starting with vehicles after 1996, we're currently fully compatible with vehicles 2010 and newer, but it is part of our roadmap to expand support all the way down to 1996.
All right, so the SPARQ Diagnostics device, and how big is it, by the way? It works with virtually all cars and models, like make and models, after 2010.
Correct. Fully compatible with 2010 and newer, and then we're expanding support all the way down to 1996. It is about the size of an AirPods, if people are familiar with the size of how big the AirPod is, but it's quite a small form factor all you have to do is plug SPARQ Diagnostics into your OBD2 port, and through SPARQ's app, our simple interface, you can talk to your car directly. You can perform more than 50,000 independent inspections on your vehicle, and with additional new features that we're planning on releasing in the upcoming months.
It's the size like of an AirPod earbud or the case?
The case.
Okay.
Yep.
That's still very small. And that plugs in. And I was going to ask you how it works. And is it easy for a non-techie person to figure this out? And then the interface, there's no screen on the device. Does it wirelessly talk to your phone?
Correct. It wirelessly talks to your phone. So every single information that you'll need, we break it down into very simple and plain English that anybody who's got the literacy will be able to understand what a certain code means. We break it down into plain English. We tell you exactly, for example, instead of P0400 code, we say, well, the app will tell you that cylinder number 4 is misfiring and give you a recommendation on what you should do to get it serviced or get it repaired, and within what mileage or what time frame before it becomes a more severe issue.
Does it work, Daniel, with both EVs and ICE vehicles, combustion engine, like gas vehicles?
So SPARQ Diagnostics, we currently only support ICE and hybrid vehicles. We're working on expanding support into EVs because EVs are very different, or we're looking to expand that coverage.
We are chatting with Daniel Nia. He's co-founder of SPARQ. They are the folks behind SPARQ Diagnostics. It's a device that you plug into your vehicle's OBD port in order to diagnose the health of the vehicle so you can act on it in plain English via the SPARQ app. And SPARQ, by the way, is SPARQ. We'll talk pricing in a moment. There's a bit of a surprise there. But speaking of smartphones, Daniel, tell us how you can snap a photo of the dashboard warning light or upload sound like a weird engine noise to the app. Is that right?
That is correct. That is correct. So we released SPARQ AI to the public during our keynote event a few weeks ago. Essentially, what you're able to do, or what any car owner and any of our users is capable of doing is, for example, if there is a check engine light that is presented on your vehicle, all you have to do is within our app, take a photo of that check engine light. What that does is it will run a real-time diagnostics as well as analysis on that check engine light to figure out what's wrong with your vehicle. And let's say if you start your vehicle and you hear a weird sound that is abnormal from your everyday driving, all you have to do is to record that sound within the app, and our AI will be able to identify based on the frequency as well as the rhythm of the sound to categorize with our sample set to see what and to identify and diagnose what that particular sound problem is. So we can identify whether that be a misfire or a crankshaft issue, things of that nature.
That's really cool. I haven't heard of AI determining based on a photo or a sound what the vehicle issue might be. That's kind of unique. But I think there are other devices like SPARQ Diagnostics, things that plug it, like little doohickeys that plug into the OBD port to diagnose the vehicle. What makes SPARQ unique?
Well, OBD2 scanners, they're nothing new on the market. They've been in the market for a very long time. And what makes us different really is our ability to aggregate a lot of these fragmented devices into a cohesive ecosystem. For example, one of the things that we are the most comprehensive on with our scanning or with our ability to diagnose vehicle issues, we are by far the most comprehensive consumer scanner on the market. A lot of times, instead of needing to purchase a commercial grade scanner that mechanic shop and dealership uses that costs about anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000, you can have the same capabilities within a single device from SPARQ.
And speaking of which, another unique or differentiating feature, it seems, is the price. When this was a Kickstarter campaign, correct me if I'm wrong, you were selling this for $500, but
correct.
You're now giving it away for free, the SPARQ Diagnostics device? And
correct.
If so, how can you do that? What's the thinking behind that?
Absolutely. The reason, Mark, that we believe we are in a position for us to give away the devices for free is because after our initial debut at LA Auto Show back in November 2024, we realized the market response as well as the audience in need for a device like SPARQ. And our goal really is to help and support the everyday driver by giving the devices away for free and having them pay for shipping if they purchase it online. But that's how confident we are with our product, is we believe that the everyday driver, regardless of what income category they're in or what kind of vehicle that they drive, they should deserve to have the ultimate truth about their vehicle before heading into a mechanic.
That's generous of you, but it's not sustainable. When you do start charging for it, how much do you think it'll be? And what's the best website for our listeners to learn more or take advantage of your giveaway?
Anybody can go on the website, join SPARQ, www.joinsparq.com to obtain their free device. It is a limited promotion that we're offering for the device giveaway. Mm-hmm. But when that promotion ends, what's going to happen is the device will continue to retail for $499. We charge a one-time fee for the purchase. So you purchase the device outright. You don't need to pay for, none of our users will ever be required to pay for a subscription or annual fee for the device or for the software. Nothing that they need to pay for to upgrade it as well to access certain features. And the most important part is we don't monetize on our users' data.
Yeah, that's one question I didn't ask you, is about the data you collect, and because I know a lot of people are concerned about privacy these days. So that's all great to hear,
Correct.
Daniel. So join SPARQ.com, and SPARQ is SPARQ. I wish you much success on this device. It sounds great. I'm looking forward to trying it myself. Thanks again for your time today, Daniel. All the best.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having us.
Hey, be sure to take advantage of that free product. Join SPARQ, SPARQ.com. When we return on Tech It Out, we're going to spring into some new tech. We'll be right back.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We cover cybersecurity a lot on this program and how you can best protect yourself in the digital age, even if you're not super tech savvy. One part of the solution is securely shopping online. And so I'm thrilled about my partnership with Visa on Tech It Out, as they've made some significant investments in fraud prevention over the past 5 years, as much as $10 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B, to support Visa's brand promise to protect the financial information of individuals and businesses. Zero liability means peace of mind when you shop online using your Visa card. There can be no half measures when it comes to cybersecurity, which is why the company takes an aggressive and multi-layered approach to combating the rising threat of malicious software and other threats by well-funded and global criminal enterprises. Read more about Visa and how securing the world's payments is priority one at visa.com/security. That's visa.com/security. So as I mentioned earlier in the program, I started to go on TV stations and chat spring tech. So I thought I'd share some of these with you, about a half dozen ideas if you want to jot them down mentally or on your phone, pen and paper, what have you, if anything piques your interest. I started off showing the new Garmin Forerunner smartwatch. It's the Forerunner 265, designed by runners for runners. It's a GPS smartwatch that helps athletes better plan, prepare, perform, and connect. It features Garmin's premium training metrics, recovery insights, a beautiful full-color display, and up to 15 days of battery life, which is huge. It also has all kinds of health and sleep tracking. You can see and feel phone notifications. You can download music to listen to on the watch without needing a phone. You can pay for things at retail. And there's a couple of different sizes to choose from, 42 and 46 millimeters. So it's $399, and you can learn more at Garmin.com. Now, speaking of the outdoors, and exclusively at Staples for the golden white and golden black colorways, the Beats Solo 4 wireless headphones sound amazing in both Bluetooth mode with up to 50 hours of battery life between charges when it's wireless, or even better, in high-resolution lossless audio if you plug the USB-C or 3.5mm headphone cable into the source, into the music source, thanks to its digital to analog converter. So amazing audio quality with well-balanced lows, mids, and highs. They're super comfortable. They're only 217 grams. They cost $205 at staples.com. Next up, I showed the first smart door lock that uses your palm print in order to identify you. It's the Eufy Familock S3 Max video door lock. So there are a lot of these different smart door locks that let you tap your phone, or you can punch in code into the keypad. And this model has a keypad as well, but it can look at veins in your palm when you hold it up to the sensor, and it's got 99.9999% accuracy. So it'll identify you and unlock the door. In fact, you can register up to 50 palm prints for your family and friends. There's an integrated 2K camera with great quality, and you can see the video on the back of the door or on your smartphone. The Eufy, which is EUFY, Familock S3 Max Video Door Lock, costs $399. Eufy.com has more. Also for just outside your home is the Husqvarna Automower IQ Series robotic mowers. So Husqvarna was the original company 30 years ago to introduce a robotic lawnmower, and they're still number one in the market. With the new Automower IQ Series out in early April, these are wire-free models, so you don't have to install a perimeter wire under the ground in order to keep the lawnmower on your property. It uses GPS and other wireless technologies to quietly navigate your lawn, your front lawn or your backyard, up to 2 acres. So it can handle big properties, even complicated shapes. Because it's quiet, you can run day or night. In the rain, it's weatherproof, got all kinds of security features. When it senses it's running low on battery life, it'll drive itself back to the dock to charge up and then continue its job. And you can even cut patterns on the grass, like a cross pattern or something that you would maybe see on a baseball field. So really cool. It's $21.99 to start. Husqvarna.com has more. For inside the home, springtime is synonymous with baseball, and that includes the launch of the must-own premier baseball game, MLB The Show 25, out now for PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. The show is the closest thing you can get to playing Major League Baseball yourself. Swing into action by playing as or against your favorite MLB team in authentically recreated stadiums, or play through history as baseball's often overlooked legends, or you can live your own dream by making the big leagues in Road to the Show, creating a player that rises. You can step up to the plate with several solo and multiplayer modes like Fan Favorites, Franchise, and Diamond Dynasty, and a new feature called Diamond Quest. It's a single player mode, which is kind of like a roguelike board game where rewards are yours to earn through moments, boss encounters, and more. The game costs $69, and you can find out more at theshow.com. And finally, Moen Smart Water Solutions. Moen has a number of smart home technology products that can help protect your home from water damage. Again, Moen has a number of devices. One of them is the Moen Flow, that's FLO, smart water monitor and shutoff that can detect a problem with a pipe, for example. If it's a leaky pipe, a burst pipe, a frozen pipe, or if somebody left the tap running, it will shut off your water supply and then notify you on an app or through your smart speaker that there's an issue. So to minimize damage, you're notified and it's shutting off the water supply at the source. There's also smart leak detectors to place around the home. When it detects moisture, it can push a notification to you. And then there's a Moen Smart Sub Pump Monitor for 24/7 monitoring. Moen.com has more. So there you have it, a look at some great gear and a game as we welcome in the new spring season. When we return on Tech It Out, we're going to learn all about a wearable dash cam or body cam for personal safety when we return on Tech It Out.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. One of the items I wrote about coming out of Mobile World Congress was Keocam. It's a body cam for regular folks, for civilians, not police officers or the military and the like. On why it exists, how it works, and who it's for, we're joined by Brian Pemberton. He's CEO and founder of Keotech, the folks behind Keocam, billed as the world's first personal dash cam. Thanks, Brian, for your time. Looking forward to this chat.
Thanks very much, Mark, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Great. At a high level, what is Keocam?
Oh, yes, of course. So what is Keocam? Keocam is the world's first personal dash cam. So what do I mean by that? Like a dash cam in your car, it's recording all the time. Only we've got some really cool features like multiple copies of that recording. There's a copy on the camera and there's a copy on your smartphone. And then if something goes wrong and you need to protect that recording for evidence purposes, we send a third copy up to the cloud.
Okay, so we'll get to why you need a duplicate or triplicate in a moment. In my introduction, I used the phrase bodycam and then I used personal dashcam. So I use those two sort of interchangeably. Is there a reason why you call it a personal dashcam opposed to a bodycam, which I think a lot of my listeners would be familiar with, watching cop shows and stuff like that, the news?
Absolutely, Mark. Yeah, that's a good point. So body cameras, or at least the body cameras that the police are using, tend to be something that's recording all the time, and they'll record an entire shift. So, for example, 8 hours or so. It's a big honking thing that, is clipped onto a uniform,
right?
Heavy, long battery life. What we have is a much lighter weight product, which is magnetically attached to your clothing. It's easier to store. You keep it in your purse. And then when you're not feeling particularly safe, you can pull it out and you can activate the camera.
Perhaps you call it a personal dash cam instead of a body cam because it records in clips, like in loops, like a dash cam does on your dashboard of your vehicle, opposed to a body cam, which you said is constantly recording for the full shift. Is that fair?
Yes, that's a good description. So we're recording in a loop of 1 minute. So when you turn the camera on, it starts recording, and then it will remember 1 minute at a time. And then if something happens, you can activate an incident and it will lock down that previous 1 minute. So you can go back in time 1 minute, and then moving forwards, the recording continues. So you have that ability to go back in time and continue with the recording afterwards. And that's important from a context point of view, which perhaps we can come on to a little bit later.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you who this is for. So let's say, hypothetically, my daughter, she's in college. She's away at university. I would love her to wear something like this, walking back from school to her home for personal safety. But a minute isn't really that long. What if, heaven forbid, something happens and she is unable to archive a video that she needs archived, because you have to physically press the button, right? Because a minute will get overwritten pretty quickly, no?
Well, you'd be surprised how much happens within the space of 1 minute, although in the software, we can go back further in time. So we're currently planning actually between 30 and 90 seconds. It depends really on the country and where the camera will be operated. So, for example, in Germany, we'd only get to be able to use 30 seconds because that's a ruling that they have.
Oh, interesting.
Cameras and dash cams and so on in general.
So is it more for personal safety or maybe older folks who I've seen wearables that will help them remember things later on? Maybe they have some cognitive challenges like Alzheimer's or other kinds of dementia. Or is it mostly for personal safety? You want evidence of something should it happen. It's terrible to think that we're in a world like that, but it's the reality.
Yeah, primarily it's for personal safety. So 80% of sexual assaults, common assaults, and hate crimes are not reported to the police. And the main reason for that is a lack of evidence.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is improve those statistics. If you're not feeling safe, then you can use this device. And once activated, you can go back in time. Now, the ability to go back in time is important because in a court of law, it's often one person's word against another. Your daughter, for example.
Yeah.
There are high incidents of sexual assault in universities and so on, particularly around Freshers' Week. If the authorities get involved, they'll obviously ask, both sides of the story, and you'll often get very different approaches. If, however, you're able to activate and go back in time that 1 minute, you can show that you weren't flirting with the guy, you were actually asking to be left alone, and therefore you have much more of a case because the police are in a difficult situation. Without evidence, they can't, bring justice.
Fair. And not that flirting should justify sexual abuse, but that's a whole other...
Well, no, of course not.
Of course. I know what you're saying. That was a side note. Certainly, this is a good peace of mind to have, just like a dash cam, right? That's why you've got a dash cam. In the event of an incident or an accident, you've got video evidence of it, which in this case, it could even act as a deterrent if somebody sees it. And then I guess for my next question about duplicates and triplicates of that video, that makes sense. If a thief or someone who's going to commit sexual assault sees sees that, they could take it off of your person, but there's already another version on a phone that may be in your purse or in your pocket, and maybe a third version uploaded to the internet already.
Mark, you've hit the nail on the head. So the main reason for this device is to deter rather than to incriminate. By having a deterrent, people behave differently when they're being recorded. But what we have to do from a technology perspective is to be able to deliver on the threat of being caught. So that's why we have these multiple copies. There's a copy on the camera and a copy on your smartphone. So as you mentioned, if the camera is removed, you still have that backup copy on your phone, and the phone's already sending it to the cloud. Once it's on the cloud, that's it. You can't delete it.
All right. I like that a lot. We're going to continue chatting with Brian at Keocam when we return. I've got a few more questions I'd like to ask him about this product, which is coming out later in the year. Keocam is Keocam. Before that, though, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to SanDisk. They are a partner on this program. For full transparency, they're no longer part of the Western Digital family, out on their own, and they've got an amazing line of products for content creators, podcasters, YouTubers, TikTokers, and so on. Anyone who shoots and maybe edits video in the field, on a phone, tablet, mobile device, they've got a slew of solutions, solid state drives, USB drives, memory cards, a lot of great stuff that is super reliable, durable, high capacity, and affordable. SanDisk.com has more. And of course, for backup purposes, not just to work off the drive where you want those fast speeds and a lightweight design, and also for backing up your important files. More with Keocam about its personal dash cam, a wearable body cam for civilians, not for officers or the military. So stick with us. More with Keocam when we return after this short break.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Check it out. Hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We're chatting with Brian Pemberton. He's CEO and co-founder of a company called Keotech. They are the folks behind Keocam, which is Keocam. It made waves at the recent MWC, Mobile World Congress, a conference that just wrapped up in Barcelona, Spain. And this is, I know, not out until later this year. It's, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we're planning to be ready around November.
Awesome. Okay. Do you always wear this? Is it that small? Or is it something that you would keep in a bag or something and then put on when you're feeling like you need to have it? Because if it's small enough, I can see people wearing this all the time, you know, if it's something that can just clip onto your clothing.
So it's magnetized onto your clothing, so it's very slim and easy to wear. It's 5 centimeters by 5.5 centimeters, a couple of inches by a couple of inches. Yeah, it's not intended to be worn 24 hours a day. First of all, of course, if you go into private locations, or
right, yeah, I was going to say,
cautious of that with what your rights and other people's rights. But in public spaces, on public transport, parks, walking the dog at night, getting an Uber, these kinds of things, then you're able to have that extra layer of security with you by wearing the camera. And it's all about layers, So the same way as you might consider your home, you've got lights in the garden, you've got locks on the windows, and you've got cameras inside your house. Many people carry pepper spray and so on. Having this kind of camera in your bag or in a pocket is there to add that extra layer of security. And we've had some interesting feedback, actually, which is that we've had a lot of people give us anecdotes of, a friend of ours had an incident where they used a pepper spray, or an ex-partner was giving them a hard time. They came to their home, but they got in trouble because they were getting more animated and they weren't able to show what had happened previously. So again, this having this extra layer of security and a recording of what's happened helps you put your case to the authorities, and hopefully then justice is served.
Yeah. And what's the video quality like? And does it record audio as well?
Yes, absolutely. Audio and video. We have full HD. We have a 2-megapixel camera sensor, which is perfectly fine to identify people within 6 to 8 feet of you, which is the normally what happens when you have these kinds of incidents. And the viewing angle is 160 degrees, so it's roughly what the human eye can see as well. So it's quite a broad field of vision. So yes, we've covered as many bases as we can, with the compromise, of course, of being power efficient.
And then because a lot of these incidences could take place at night, how does it work in darker environments like a parking lot at night?
Yeah, so the camera sensor itself is going to be optimized for low light conditions, but we also have infrared LEDs, which will turn on automatically in low light situations. So it's similar to a security camera, on the outside of a property. It turns those kinds of lights on when the sun goes down.
Got it. Okay. And it's usually not quite as good as when it's light out, but that's at least better than nothing. So that's good to know.
But again, we're talking within a few feet. If somebody is approaching you, it's pretty clear within, admittedly, if you're 20 meters away, not so much, but, within a couple of meters, it's pretty clear.
All right, so Keocam.com. I'm really intrigued by this, which is why I chose to write about it out of MWC, but I can really see the value in this. Is there a rough idea for cost, and is there also a subscription cost for the cloud part?
Right. So yes, we're planning on being ready for around about November time. Thanks to the feedback we've had from Mobile World Congress, we're looking at two versions. One version, which is slimmer, the original device, which has a battery life of around about 3 hours. So if you're a runner or you're commuting to and from work, that should be enough to cover you for the day. And then we're going to do kind of like a pro version, which has a bigger battery and will last around about 7 to 8 hours. And that's more for perhaps more customer-facing, general public-facing roles for small to medium-sized enterprises. Because there's lots of these little businesses out there. For example, if you work in the real estate industry, you've got an open house.
Yeah, you want to be safe.
You're showing perfect strangers around an empty house, right? So it's there are lots of opportunities for small to medium-sized businesses to use this device as well. Regarding pricing, we're looking at around about $140, and that includes a 6-month subscription within the purchase price, and then around about $4 a month for the cloud subscription, because obviously we need to maintain a cloud and storage facilities and things like that. But we'll do a 6-month and a 12-month package, which will offer better value. So for less than a cup of coffee, you'll be covered for a month.
Yeah, sign me up. Love this idea. Brian, thank you so much for carving out some time to chat with me and my audience about Keotech and its product, the Keocam. The website, once again, is keocam.com. Thank you again, Brian. All the best.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate it. And look forward to talking about the next version sometime next year.
Thank you again. Don't forget, we've got one more interview. After this short break, we're going to learn about the RedMagic Pad 3D Explorer. It looks like an iPad. It's a 12-inch tablet, but it can deliver 3D visuals without needing glasses. The content looks like it's coming off of the screen. I kid you not. And so we're going to learn about that. I recorded an interview from Mobile World Congress in Barcelona last week, so we'll play that. And hey, if you're on social media and you want to drop by and say hi, let me know where you're listening to the show from, what kind of guests or topics you'd like to hear on Tech It Out. I'll spell my name in a moment, but I'm on X, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, and a couple of others as well. So it's Mark Saltzman, MarkSaltzman. Again, Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z. I love hearing from Tech It Out listeners, so don't be shy. Let me know what you're up to. Or you can hit me up on my website at marksaltzman.com and send me an email if you're not so much into social media. You can just send me a note there. All right, we're going to learn about the RedMagic Pad 3D Explorer tablet when we return on Tech It Out.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
For the last interview on this week's Tech It Out, powered by Visa. As promised, I recorded an interview in Barcelona during Mobile World Congress with RedMagic, a company that was showing a 3D tablet, which was mind-blowing. So forgive a little bit of ambient noise because it was recorded at the show, but here is the interview. So I'm here with William at RedMagic. This is a company, I believe it's part of ZTE, but I'm going to tell our listeners all about this really wild 3D tablet, and we'll explain what that means. How's your show going, first of all, William? And can you tell us a bit about RedMagic?
Yeah, thank you for asking. The show's so good. You were right, RedMagic is part of ZTE, but operates like an independent gaming brand because we need like this type of freedom to develop these like crazy gaming products. One of those products for sure is the 3D pad. So this one is a product only for the Chinese market right now, which is like so big and it's enough probably for this type of products. It's using a very unique technology. On the outer layer of the screen, there is a special layer that has like a micron level crystal lens that helps to refract the light to the left and right when an electric input signal is applied. This translates into that if the two cameras are tracking our eyes, the two images can be exactly positioned where they have to be. So this depth effect is produced. This is good, but there is one thing that needs to be considered, and it's only for one person at a time.
Yeah, and also I'm trying to shoot a video of it, and it doesn't work because
it's not going to work. That's not going to work
because the camera lens on my phone is only one eye, if you will,
and it cannot.
It needs to do two eyes.
Yes, that's what it's called the parallax. So it's the distance between the two eyes, and if it doesn't get two eyes and a distance, then it's not calculating what it has to do.
All right, so I just want to break this down for everybody. It looks like an iPad at first glance. Okay, so it's a 12-inch tablet, but when you stand in front of it and you look at imagery like I am right now with William beside me, in this instance we're looking at a turtle swimming. You can not only rotate that turtle swimming around with your fingertip, but it appears as if the turtle is coming out of the tablet, like out of the screen and onto your lap. That's just one of about a dozen different examples they're showing here on this tablet. Another one is an action figure, a dinosaur. It's supposed to be more immersive. That's the bottom line. You're watching your favorite TV shows, playing a game, and it does that stereoscopic thing that makes it look like it's coming out of the tablet.
In fact, you can actually turn a 2D video from YouTube to a 3D one by easily doing in a single tap. Some games can be adapted to 3D. So, of course, content is king here, and games is part of the things that we want to get more involved, and not just on this tablet, but also on the new laptop 3D that we launched.
Yeah. I should mention that RedMagic also has smartphones, gaming tablets. The pad or the tablet is just one of multiple products here at the show.
This is it, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Okay. All right, so I've seen a similar pad. In fact, I own one. It's from a company called Lume, L-U-M-E. Same idea, but maybe the screen isn't as good because it's a couple of years old. Maybe the processor isn't as fast because the performance isn't quite there. But it's also an Android tablet that has this stereoscopic effect, this 3D effect. But yours under the hood, can you tell us a bit more about how it's rendering everything so beautifully in 3D without having to wear special glasses?
The magic, of course, is due to the external and the outer layer and the eye tracking, but this needs to be equipped with a high-end processor. In this case, it's not the latest one, it's the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, all right? And of course, we need a lot of RAM. In this case, it's equipping 12 gigs of RAM. With all this power, we're able to achieve this combined with the hardware technologies, screen plus cameras for the eye tracking.
It's also got 5G connectivity as an option, not just Wi-Fi, a 10,000 milliamp large capacity battery, and again, that ability to toggle between 2D and 3D just by tapping on the screen. So for example, we're launching a YouTube video, you could just switch between 2D and 3D, and again, you don't need to wear special glasses, it looks like it's in 3D, but the content doesn't need to be specifically for 3D?
That's the magic. Of course, it's the content, it's like a models designed for 3D, it's going to look better. Otherwise, the effect is going to be nice, but not fully perfect.
Right. Not mind-blowing like what I'm seeing here.
Yeah. With the renders that you saw,
There's even like a World War II era boot. Like that's it. It's a boot that it looks like a dusty old military boot that you can swipe around, and it looks like it's coming out of the tablet.
Looking all the details. That's pretty amazing.
Hey, William, thank you so much for your time. For those who want to learn more about RedMagic, including the RedMagic Pad 3D Explorer Edition, which is what we've been talking about, is there a website you can recommend?
Sure thing. I mean, the RedMagic Pad 3D Explorer Edition is not for the global market. It's only for China.
Understood.
So if you're going to check out the other products products, you can go to redmagic.gg. We deliver to most of the Western countries like Europe, US, and some South American countries.
Okay, redmagic.gg.
Great game.
Great games. Love it. Thank you so much for your time, William. Have a great rest of your MWC.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed this week's Tech It Out with the 4 different topics, from a wearable camera to a free device to diagnose your car, Spring gadget ideas, and a 3D tablet. Have a great week ahead, everyone, and I look forward to catching up with you next time for another new episode of Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.